Hey, what up, boys? And it's the Chubby. What's poppin'? Yo, leaving the house, and today we got something a little different going on. So let's get to it. Whoa. Yeah, Milo, put your airbag on, bro, or put your seatbelt on. Send the airbag off. Put your seatbelt on, dude. All right, YouTube, welcome to the new channel, or the modification of what this channel is going to be. It might be a series. It might be a whole rebranding. I don't know what it's going to be yet. We'll see. But as far as where I'm going, what my trajectory is with this, it's simple. Cuts and cars. Hopefully that logo is legit. If it's not legit, then I'm fucked. I don't know. Everything's interim right now, so still in the process of setting it all up. Still in the process of figuring out how I want to move forward with this. So Cuts and Cars is going to be a hybrid channel, like style of Jay Leno's Garage, where people bring in their cars, or he features some builds that he has, etc. Or it's Car Talk with a mixture of Jeff's Barbershop. And it's my channel, and SR's the baby that created it all. So here's Cuts and Cars. For those that don't know me, my name's Nico. I originally started the SR Entertainment YouTube channel, and I'm looking to bounce a little bit differently now. I'm looking to move into a different direction. Not too much, but just a little bit. So here's our setup so far. I'm going to be cutting one of my first guests in just a minute. And yeah, I've got both the cars, I guess, staged, which is ideally what I want to keep doing going forward. So yeah, you got my 800 horsepower 2JZ single turbo IS here, the future 1JZ single turbo drift IS 300, my big tow daily in the back, got the FRS over there too. This is Mr. Milo, and he is the 43-pound French Bulldog. He's my little guy. So he'll always be here hanging out. He's usually fucking off chasing some lizards and squirrels, but here he is. I'd tag his Instagram, but I'm not one of those people. So yeah, let's get started. It's just Cuts and Cars, and it makes it super simple. Yeah. So everybody, first guest actually on the channel. This is Jay. I have filmed for his business for the last 2 years. 2 years, yeah. 2 years. Yeah, because it's November now. So we started November 2 years ago. Yeah. Shit, that's been a long time. It's a long time. Well, COVID made this year fly by really easy. So he's actually been one of the bigger proponents for me to get started on like rebranding and push this just down the pipeline. So, you know, I've taken a lot of the things that him and I have done together, but I've taken them and looked at them and dissected them and figured out, like, all right, you know what? This guy's more of a business mentor than he is a client of mine. So I'm glad we're actually doing this.
There's a better platform, right?
Let me pause this. I should probably introduce him better. He has a couple fitness gyms in the the Bay Area, and then he runs a pretty successful one overseas as well, and also has like a lot of online stuff they've been doing throughout COVID too. So he's kicking ass. But we're getting into this whole podcast thing now. So yeah, continue.
Well, so I had a podcast. We started a long time ago. It was just kind of a fun thing to do. But it never really resulted in anything other than a couple hundred listens and that kind of thing. But we've since produced 200 YouTube videos. We've done tons and tons of blog posts. We've done like all these different things.
Yeah.
And we even had a live show for over 100 days in a row, and
that was the ones where you guys were on basement and stuff, right?
Yeah. So we have the ability to do all this stuff, but it comes down to like, what do we enjoy the most? and more importantly, like what can the other coaches do?
Yep.
And so that's like one of them. And then number 2 is really what produces the best results.
Okay.
Right? So it's like, if writing emails produces the best results, but nobody wants to do it or no one has the skills to do it, then that's probably not the best choice, right?
Okay.
But if we love podcasting but it doesn't produce any results, then that's not the best choice either.
Got it.
So we're just kind of trying to balance, like, what is the best way to do it?
Yeah, it's not so much only do what you love. It's like, all right, do what you love, but also what works.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hard too, though, because it's some things that may work. Like, all right, well, that's not exactly what I was shooting for, but sometimes you got to write it out.
Yeah, so, when it comes down to it, like, the real key is to just pick a platform and really focus on it for a long time until you can kind of master what works on that platform.
Somebody was telling me beyond that, focus on a very specific thing or niche and like run with that. Be specialty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, it's so, part of what I do with my consulting is we basically say, like, you have one offer, one platform, and 1 year, and you can make $100,000. So in personal income. So what does that mean? I don't know if that makes sense to you. Right? So so one offer. So like our gym, basically what we do is we help people get strong and lose weight, right? Does that make sense?
Yep. 100%.
So that's our offer. And
Okay.
then to sign up, there's an 8-week program that you sign up for, right?
Okay.
There's no other offers. There's no other thing you can sign up for. We don't have online, like, special courses or anything.
The only way you're going to get strong and lose weight is by signing up for your offer. That's all you get.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, look, you can follow our stuff and
Yeah.
try to figure it out, but like, this is the thing that we're selling, right?
Yep.
So that's the first thing, is just like be super clear about what you're selling.
Okay.
And then it's like, one platform is like, should I go on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or, what is the best way to get people interested in my message, right? Podcast, it's kind of a platform, but like it's more like a blog.
Okay.
And you have to find a way to share that share what you produce on that platform. Does that make sense?
Yes. Before you jump in more with podcasts, have you figured out, or how would somebody go from wanting to listen to a podcast versus wanting to watch a YouTube video? Because me, loving visual, if I can get the exact same thing, on YouTube, I'm going on YouTube.
Well, there's a little bit of a demographic piece to this too, right? Like you grew up watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
Whereas...
Yeah, I didn't listen to radio shows.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I grew up listening to the radio, which, those radio stations are still around. You listen to, like, KMEL and stuff like that, right?
I listen to Lamont and Tonelli now, just to, like, relive a little bit of the mornings.
Yeah, so, like, you drive around, you listen to the radio, right? Nowadays, like, back when I, was really into cars, I would play CDs,
Okay.
right? But nowadays, it's like you have Spotify and you have all these different options, and so you can listen to whatever the hell you want. Like, you can't it's not just CDs or the radio.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew up with a little more of a audio focus because I couldn't carry a video camera in my pocket at all times.
Video's a newer medium, then.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's not newer, but it's just generationally, like, my kids watch YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
They're going to grow up expecting video and audio, right? So if I'm trying to sell something to someone your age, I'm probably going to do more video.
That makes more sense to break it down like that.
If I'm going to do something to people that are closer to my age, like, video works, but I think audio is actually more effective. So I'm going back to this, like, one offer, one platform, 1 year, $100,000, right?
Okay.
So we have the offer, the platform. So we're going to be producing podcasts. And the reason for that is because our best clients are 35 and older. Not all of them, but that's sort of how we skew.
Yep.
And I read a stat recently that was like, so podcasts are still pretty new. There's not nearly as many podcasts as there are YouTube videos.
Yes. Yeah, it's not as flooded.
But I read a stat recently. I don't know if I believe it, but it kind of makes sense. It's like, so half of all podcast listeners have a household yearly income of over $150,000.
Sounds like a lot of commuters and a lot of workers.
Yeah. Well, also they tend to be older, right? So when
Yeah.
you get older, you tend to, earn more money. So while there may be less people listening than watching, they're more likely to take action if they find something that they like.
Yeah.
So we're going to use that, and then we're also going to use Instagram as our sort of bullhorn for letting people know about it.
Okay.
So that's the platform. And the 1 year is really, it's all about like, if you don't focus on trying to master the basics of that platform, then you're never going to get good enough to see any results.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, because then that simplifies it and like keeps you locked into one versus running Instagram, YouTube, TikTok,
Yeah,
Twitter,
exactly.
everything under the sun.
So like what I committed to, and I told you this. So my podcast is, we're committed to doing 2 episodes a week for a year. That's 100 episodes, essentially.
Okay.
Right? So our first episode, I probably spent too much time trying to make it perfect, and it's just going out. It is not perfect.
Got it.
And even though we've done it before, it's like when you're starting something new, you have all these new expectations. So
Yeah, you obsessed over it. It's your first baby.
yeah. So we're putting it out. It's going to be messy, and we got another one that needs to go out this week. And really, in this case, it's more about getting my coaches to $100,000, because this is their main focus.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we chose it. When I'm thinking about YouTube with you, it's like I was just looking through your channel, and you have like, I don't know how many videos, but some of those videos have like 200,000 views.
78, 80 videos, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. In relation to car stuff, other things
Yeah.
like short film things, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just did a search and I just found like the most popular videos, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And it was like, you got videos that have 200,000 views, right? And you have something, what do you say, 30,000 followers or something like that?
I think you just hit 35 this morning.
That's like 99% of YouTube channels will never get that big.
Yeah.
And so you already have something that's working. And so really now it's just like the amount of tweaking and focus that you put on it is what's going to determine what you do next, right? So I think this is one thing we talked about last time, is like, what is the offer? Is one of the questions,
Okay.
right? Because you already have the channel, YouTube.
There's already a platform I have somewhat started. I
Yeah.
have a leg up. If I started something different, I wouldn't have a leg up anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
The work's already been, like, or what is it? Subfloor is already been laid, or the foundation?
Yeah. So you have the platform. What is the offer? And then you've already put years into this.
Yeah.
But those years are not necessarily focused on how this is going to become your business, right?
It's true.
It's like, I enjoy this, and I'm gonna. It seems to me like the previous focus was, I'm going to create a channel big enough to where YouTube pays me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And it was working with building cars, so I continue to just try to continue it. And then
Yeah.
you realize when that doesn't happen as fast as you want it to happen, you burn out because cars are so fucking expensive to modify. So
Yeah.
it's a very high entry coming in. It's not like a video gamer that can buy a $1,000 computer system and just play all he wants and not have any other costs.
Yeah.
Every video I have to factor in, all right, how much am I going to spend on parts this time or something like that, right? So that's where
Yeah.
it was more just shooting blanks and figuring out what's stuck.
Well, this is the thing though, because the only way you have to monetize it is YouTube paying you for views, right?
Mhm.
That's like the math works out a lot better if there's also something that you're selling, or some sort of way that people can pay you directly,
Okay.
right? So So I'll give you an example. Like I follow this guy named Paul Davids on YouTube, right?
Yep.
So he has like 2 million followers, and he's a guitar instructor, right? So
The name does sound familiar. I've probably watched some of his videos.
yeah, he's amazing. Like he's an amazing guitar player, and he breaks things down pretty easily. And like he's also I think from the Netherlands or something. So there's like a little bit of this exotic factor that Americans always love,
Okay.
right? So he's got 2 million followers, and I'm sure he gets paid by YouTube, but he also sells a course for beginners for like $150 and a course for intermediate players for $150, right? And I can almost guarantee you, and it's funny because when you go back and watch his videos, they're pretty like they're good quality, but they're lower budget, and you can almost map from when he starts the course to the quality of the videos.
Okay.
Right? So it's like he started this beginner course like 2 or 3 years ago for $150, and all of a sudden the quality of his videos started to improve.
Ah, okay.
It's because he was selling the course and he was getting paid enough to be able to improve the quality of the videos.
Makes sense.
So you have a bunch of like videos that show like different stuff that you've done, or like different equipment that you bought, and it's like it's a little more entertainment, right?
Okay.
But if I have that same car and you offered me, you said like, hey, pay $500 or $1,000 or even like $100, and I'll show you from the ground up like exactly all the upgrades I did to take it from where it is now to, or where it was at the beginning, to 550 horsepower.
That makes, actually, you know what? You're right. That would be way more attractive for me to do that, because how many times does that get asked every day?
Yeah, it's
My
like
Instagram fucking DMs are blowing up.
Yeah.
Purely based on what are your wheel and tire specs?
Yeah.
What did you exactly? It's smart.
And it's like, so so for $100, I'm going to show you how to take this car from 0 to 550 horsepower, right, or whatever, 200 horsepower to 550, and you basically just go through and break down like, here's the stuff that I did, here's how much it costs, here's how long it took me to put it on there, et cetera, right? And
That's smart.
And here's the other part. Like, so let's say that somebody has this car. What does it cost? Like 15 grand or something to buy a used one?
Like as a stock format?
Yeah.
5 or 6 grand now.
Okay, so
Yeah.
5 or 6 grand, right? If somebody drove up one of those cars to you right now, how much money would you have to put into it to get it to 500 horsepower or whatever it is, whatever yours is?
20 grand.
Okay.
Including labor.
Okay, great.
10 in parts, 10 in labor.
So that's what you would charge if it was if you were going to do it for them.
Factor that in. Yep.
Yep. Great. So for those people that are buying that course, you can say, look, I'm going to show you step by step how I did it, or ship the car to me and I'll charge you 20 grand and do it for you.
Smart.
Right? And then you have your next build.
It's actually really smart, because I can make it easier by doing a video that I can send out to everybody, like a private video that's, okay, shit.
But, here's the thing, though. Like, you got 30,000 followers. Obviously, there's not going to be 30,000 people that want to pay you 20 grand.
It's true.
But you only need one.
One of them,
Yeah.
on that one build. And then,
Yeah.
while I get, okay.
And then there's going to be people with, an old Miata in their yard, in their front yard. Everyone loves fucking Miatas. Right? Like, everyone has an old Miata. All dudes that are like 30 years old love old Miatas.
It's the cheap track car.
Yeah.
It's because they don't want to put the money out on a Porsche.
And so, you could probably take a Miata from, 120, 150 horsepower? Something like that?
At least, yeah. Some very, very low.
You gotta ask me how I know this shit. So it's like 100 to 150 horsepower.
I know you do your research.
So what you can do, like 300, 350?
In a Miata?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, turbo build it. Anything over 4 is psychotic in that car, so
Yeah,
I could see
okay,
doing
so-
3.
so,
I
yeah,
could see doing double the horsepower.
250 to 300, right?
Yeah, way more fun than what it already is.
So you can buy a Miata for like 2 grand.
You can buy a Miata for $4 if you wanted to. They're so inexpensive.
Okay, so you could buy this Miata for the 2 grand. How much money would it take to get it to 250 to 300 horsepower?
Under 10K.
So look, like, now you're talking, you can have a 300 horsepower, basically rocket ship, for like 15K.
It's true.
I mean, that's pretty cool. You could take it to the track. That's the cheapest track car besides like maybe a Datsun 510 that you can build, right?
That's true. Honestly, the power out of that Miata too, the little small turbo kit, which are dime a dozen now, or supercharger kit, which are really easy to find.
Yeah. So, hey, you just bought a Miata. So that's the next car you got to do. Everyone has a Miata. You just bought a Miata. I'm going to show you how to get it to 250 to 300 horsepower.
That's it's funny that you say that. There was one other guy that I was talking to that was saying some of the very same things. And he's, you know why your channel didn't really take off as fast? I'm like, why is that? And he goes, well, you built an expensive car at the time. You put in 35, 40 grand into a 2JZ build, which is really pricey.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you were like the other channels, the Honda guys, and you did a Honda build, which costs nothing, and you make the same power, you're into that car at a quarter of the cost, and that's more obtainable for the people that are watching your YouTube channel because they're younger kids that don't have their license yet.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, yeah, that's smart. It's just hard to swallow that pill, right? Because it's not the car I want to build. It's not what I'm into, but it would project me to get into the cars I want to build.
Well, look, I mean, how long does it take you to build a car?
If I'm getting paid for it, it could happen in 2 weeks.
So you can basically do that every month, right? You can have. I can't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not showing it.
Yeah. That's good.
Patient.
You can do that every month, man. You can have a whole just ground up build.
Could be a build. It could be a build once a month. You're right.
And okay, so you take an old Honda Civic or an old Miata, and you do like basic overview.
Okay.
How could you make money from that? There's basically a bunch of ways. One, you could sell a course.
Yep.
Another one, you could have basically a Patreon page where if people want to see more in detail stuff, then they could pay to see it, right?
Well, it makes sense though to do individual builds. It does.
Yeah.
Because here, this limitation is this one chassis.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, not everybody's going to be just into this one chassis. Some people want the Miata, some people want the 180 SX or something. So
yeah.
And those are all inexpensive cars. Every one of the cars that I've actually been into, besides the last year, which looking at the new Supra, every other car is pretty much now under 10 grand getting into it.
Yeah. Those are the fun ones. And I mean, like we were saying, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, you can also just sell that car at the end.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or the sweepstakes, the
Or the
giveaway, the
sweepstakes,
raffle,
yeah.
which even makes more sense.
God, what is it? Mr. God, it's like Mr. Big or something. There's
Mr. Beast?
Mr. Beast, yeah. Yeah, the dude that does all the raffles.
Uh-huh.
Like,
it's an insane amount of money. Well, we follow the first few that were out here that were doing them was 8080. They built these Nardo flat gray cars. Every one of them was the same color.
Yeah.
Very smart.
yeah.
And they would do a giveaway of everything you spend on their website gives you so many entries, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody would win the car, but they would also win 20 grand cash because that would pay for the taxes and whatever else in that car.
Right.
Genius. Takes
Yeah.
them off right out of the way.
Yeah.
And they don't have a hosting of how many tickets they sold. They
Yeah.
don't show you their limit. They probably made 100K on that car, right? Because they just put out there all the things that you sell or you buy on the website will go towards entries for you.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta figure that out.
I would say raffling giveaways is very smart. It's illegal in California to sell raffle tickets, though, but it's not illegal to sell merchandise that come with raffle tickets.
Well, you could say if you were we're going to give away this car to someone that subscribes on Patreon, and Patreon is going to cost you whatever $25 a month or something. Only Patreon users get this car, right? And so, obviously it has to make sense. If you only have 4 subscribers, then you're going to be losing a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It's kind of.
Well, it's one of my plans with this car. The reason this car got put together for so much on a budget is because I want to raffle it off, and I'm only into it 3 or 4 grand.
Right.
And most of it's the cost of the motor and the transmission. So
I'm gonna send you something before I forget. There's just a podcast I was listening to. You can watch a video about it, but this guy that really talks a lot about YouTube and how it works, and he was basically saying, like, for people like you who are creative, most of the creatives on YouTube have no idea how to monetize YouTube. They're kind of going the same route you're thinking, like, oh, I'm gonna try to be the next whatever. Who are those twins or whatever that
Dolan
make all
twins or something.
Yeah, whatever. Those people that make money on YouTube, right? And that's the only plan. But the truth is, the people that are making the real money on YouTube have a lot less followers.
Yeah.
And they're actually selling something, or they have some sort of additional way to do it. And so with this guy who's talking, he's maybe 30,000 followers like you do, but he uses it as a way to build up his email list, which is how he builds his business, and his business does like 50 million a year.
He's using it as a tool. He's not using it as his what I was planning.
Primary
income.
income.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's really the best way to do it, because 30,000 followers, dude, like honestly, if each one of them gave you $1 a month, like you'd be building, you know, Maseratis out here.
That's true. That's 100% true. And then, you know what YouTube did too in the last year? They offered it to only 100,000 subscriber channels. You can have a join button where they can join your channel for $1 to support, right? $1 a month, 50
Yeah,
cents a
so
month.
replacing Patreon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only if you have 100,000 subscribers though, not anything lower, or maybe
Yeah.
it's 50 or whatever it is.
So the thing that was interesting, and the only reason I was still kind of thinking about YouTube, is what this guy was basically saying was that despite the fact that there are millions of YouTube channels and lots of stuff being uploaded every day, it's growing at a faster rate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are more people watching it than used to. And even in the last year, like, I've been watching a lot more YouTube. And it's just because, like, you can basically find anything.
Yeah.
Like, almost anything about anything. And so I'll watch sometimes like a podcast, but mostly I'm watching like, oh, I need to learn some new technique on the guitar. And I can choose from like world-class classical guitarist to like, you know, James Hetfield, or like anybody can teach me how to do the guitar on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're really good, like Paul David's, I mean, I've given him 300 of my dollars, right? And it's like, I do that because they've put so much effort and time into it that it's worth it for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Smart. I'm already getting a lot from this conversation. I like it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just find. Maybe I'll just. Yeah. Let's see. So I was just trying to find.
Podcast.
The podcast. Yeah. Anyways, I'll find it and send it to you. It's just interesting. But I think the big thing is you already have the channel, and
Platform, I just need to do it a different way.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
How often are you doing videos?
Once every 5 days. Once every 5 or 6 days, yeah.
So is it like every Friday, or?
I mean, that's me pumping them out slow.
Okay.
I already have like 5 in the backlog. I can do it once every 2 days. It's more of like a what works. And I'm just trying to figure out what works again with now the way YouTube is. Does it work to, you know, put one out on Monday and put one out again next Monday, or does it work to put one out every single day? Like, what I have a fear of is like, oh, if I put one out on Monday and Wednesday and Friday, who goes and watches one Monday again, right? Like, if Wednesday is a new video already and Friday's a new video, does it get lost in the sauce? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
So it depends, like, so it's almost, to me, it almost feels like you want to do 2 or 3 a week.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing this one,
Yeah.
right? Which is like kind of an interview show. That should probably be the same time every week.
Yeah.
And then you should have another time every week where you're doing more informational one and the high production value one, right? If you're going to do a third one, it would probably be something like that. And the key, I think, and from listening to this guy, is like, most of his views come from him emailing his email list and telling him, hey, there's a new video.
Got it.
Right? But then the second half, this is like half of his views, 60% of his views. The other half comes from people searching and finding, like, this is the, you know, like, let's say you put on something there about how to, you know, a new Miata build, taking it from, you know, 100. Yeah, then they look it up and find it, right? So like it's kind of like if you're producing 2 a week, you're emailing your list, which if you don't have a list, then we need to talk about that. But you're emailing your list and saying, hey, come check out this new video. I interview, you know, Jay Williams, whatever, right? And then the second one is like, we're starting a new Miata build this month, right? I'm going to see if I can build this thing for under 10 grand and get it to 300 horsepower, right? I mean, that would be a really cool project.
It would be fun.
Right? And so the first video is just like, now I'm going to go find the thing. What was that show where they used to buy those junker cars? And
Mighty Car Mods.
No, it's like it was like brothers. I think you said the show got canceled or they split up or something. It was on.
Fast and Loud?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like that was super compelling, and I don't really follow it that much. I don't follow cars that much. It's just like you're going out, you're buying the car, you're doing a video, you're buying the car, and then now I'm gonna go
build and put it out.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun to see a puzzle complete.
Yeah, exactly. So that second video, you're emailing Liz saying, hey, we got this new thing, and I'm going to be releasing these ones every Friday. So this one, you put some effort into it. The second one, you put the big amount of effort into it, right?
That makes sense. These videos, yeah, actually I like this because it keeps it concurrent of like not getting burnt out on just making those other types of videos.
Yeah.
It's like, a refresher back to it. It's like doing haircuts. It's like, I'm cutting the same bald fade every day, but then I get a long haircut. That keeps me back into it.
Yeah,
so doing this will keep you back into it. I get it.
Yeah. And that way you put a bunch of effort into producing one amazing video. And the real key thing is like you produce amazing videos, right? But you got to learn how to do copywriting.
I should.
Right, and you got to learn like what the most important thing with the video is the title. And then the title, and then that card that includes the title.
I'm terrible at thumbnails. I've known it. I've always never taken like the videos that I see that do well too. Ridiculous clickbait titles, but whatever. That's the game. That's the game. But then the pictures they use are always from like either just edited iPhone shots or nice camera shots. I pull the stills from my video that are never actually money, and I know it doing it. As I'm doing it, I'm like, this isn't gonna. I already know it's not gonna get that money. That's my own fault right there.
Yeah. So okay, let's do this then.
Lovely conversation. So if you guys are interested in these, this is gonna be regularly happening now. I think it's fucking awesome. This isn't more of like a conversation I had with my car buddies, right? Like we're just gonna be more bullshit and light stuff. He's always been a guy that's like throwing ideas at me, and I've tried to run with them whichever way I can. But I love it. Yeah, I think they're fucking. It's smart. It's killer. It's a good way to attack the channel and go about it a different way. It really is. So stay tuned. It's going to be continuing. Again, this is Jay. I know he's got a podcast, so go
Get Strong, Lose Weight podcast. If you want to get strong and lose weight, go check it out.
Boom. Yeah. And I know a lot of the guys that watch my channel are not in the best shape, so get the fuck on there.